On July 28, 1402, the Battle of Ankara was set to unfold, marking a significant moment in the Ottoman-Timurid Wars. This event was primarily a conflict between the rising power of the Ottoman Empire under Sultan Bayezid I and the established Timurid Empire, led by the formidable Timur. As the sun rose that morning, the leaders Timur and Bayezid prepared their armies for the impending clash. Timur, age 60, with his fierce black eyes, encouraged his troops, reminding them of their past victories. In contrast, Bayezid I, age 38, strategized among his officers, radiating confidence despite the overwhelming odds. His resolute demeanor aimed to bolster the spirits of his men before the battle would commence. As both armies assembled, the atmosphere crackled with tension and anticipation. Each soldier knew that the outcome of this battle could alter the course of history. The first horn sounded, signaling the commencement of the battle. The two armies surged forward, each determined to claim victory. As the battle erupted, Timur's strategic brilliance began to shine through. His forces, disciplined and well-coordinated, started to outmaneuver Bayezid's troops. The Ottoman forces, though spirited, began to falter as Timur's tactics effectively dismantled their formation. The morale among the Ottoman soldiers dipped as they faced fierce resistance. In a pivotal moment, Timur ordered a decisive cavalry charge, aiming to break the center of Bayezid's ranks. The thunder of hooves resonated across the battlefield. As the cavalry clashed into the Ottoman lines, chaos erupted. Bayezid's soldiers struggled to hold their formation against the relentless assault of the Timurid charge. Amidst the chaos, Bayezid realized the tide was turning against him. He fought valiantly, attempting to rally his men, but the onslaught was relentless. The fateful moment arrived when Timur's forces managed to encircle a large portion of the Ottoman troops, leaving them trapped and vulnerable. In the final moments of the battle, Timur's strategic foresight culminated in victory. He had managed to defeat Bayezid I, solidifying his legacy as a conqueror. The defeat at Ankara marked a significant turning point for the Ottoman Empire, which would lead to a temporary fragmentation of their authority in the region. Historically, the Battle of Ankara reshaped the dynamics of power in the region for years to come. Amidst the ruins, both empires pondered their futures in the aftermath of such monumental conflict. As dawn broke on the day of the battle, the sun cast an eerie glow over the horizon, illuminating the vast plains near Ankara. Soldiers from both sides were seen lining up in battle formations, the tension palpable in the chilly morning air. Timur, seated on his horse, reviewed the battlefield strategy with his generals, emphasizing the importance of speed and discipline in their maneuvers. His fierce gaze instilled confidence among his men as they prepared for the engagement. On the opposing side, Bayezid I walked amongst his soldiers, offering words of encouragement and promising victory. His charisma shone through as he tried to maintain the spirits of his men in the face of the looming confrontation. As the sun climbed higher, the battle began with a clash of swords and the thundering of hooves. The shrill cries of men filled the air as the battle lines merged into chaos, marking the start of a historical conflict. Timur immediately seized the initiative, deploying his cavalry to the flanks, creating openings in the Ottoman line. His tactical foresight demonstrated the importance of mobility over mere brute strength in warfare. As the battle raged on, a significant turning point emerged when Timur's forces executed a feigned retreat, luring unsuspecting Ottoman soldiers into a vulnerable position, which set the stage for a devastating counterattack. The Ottoman troops, divided and overextended, began to realize the implications of their misjudgment. The morale quickly shifted as confusion reigned among their ranks, echoing Bayezid's earlier confidence. As Timur's forces regrouped after the feigned retreat, they unleashed a powerful cavalry charge, crashing into the disordered Ottoman lines like a tidal wave, overwhelming the defenders. With artillery fire echoing in the background, Timur's cavalry struck with unmatched precision, devastating the Ottomans, their once solid formations crumbling under the relentless assault. Amid the intensity of battle, Bayezid I fought valiantly, attempting to rally his troops, but the relentless onslaught from Timur's forces was too formidable, and the tide of the fight began to shift. Realizing the battle was slipping from his grasp, Bayezid ordered a retreat, a moment of desperation that only deepened the chaos on the battlefield as soldiers fled. Despite Bayezid's strategic calls for retreat, the Timurid forces pursued relentlessly. Many Ottoman soldiers were caught in the ensuing chaos, a testament to Timur's iron grip on the battlefield. The aftermath of the battle was filled with the cries of the wounded, and the battlefield becoming a somber testament to the costs of war. The air was heavy with a mixture of triumph and despair. As the dust settled, Timur was hailed by his warriors as a conqueror. His leadership had turned the tide in favor of the Timurid Empire, altering the regional power balance significantly. The defeat for the Ottomans was devastating. Bayezid I, once seen as an unstoppable force, now faced unimaginable challenges within his empire, grappling with the consequences of the loss. With the Ottomans fragmented, Timur's triumph sparked hope among territories eager for autonomy, setting off a chain reaction that would begin to reshape the political landscape of the region. In the following months, Timur consolidated his power, launching campaigns against remaining Ottoman strongholds and neighboring states, as whispers of his might grew in strength. Meanwhile, Bayezid I struggled to maintain control over his territories as the echoes of defeat reverberated through his court. Discontent simmered among his ranks. A series of skirmishes erupted, driven by the power vacuum created by the Ottoman defeat. Various factions vied for control of the now uncertain landscape. As the Timurid Empire began expanding, Timur sought alliances with regional leaders who shared his vision for dominance and stability against the backdrop of a crumbling Ottoman landscape. Yet, despite the initial triumph, Timur understood that maintaining control would require constant vigilance and military prowess in a region rife with unpredictable rivalries. In the aftermath of Ankara, the Ottoman Empire would undergo a period of internal strife, leading to consequences that would reverberate through generations, altering the course of history. The Battle of Ankara represented not just a military defeat for the Ottomans, but also a watershed moment that set the stage for future power struggles, marking the decline of their centralized authority at the hands of a formidable adversary. As dawn broke over Ankara, an unusual stillness gripped the battlefield, a stark contrast to the coming chaos. Timur, with his fierce black eyes reflecting the rising sun, sat astride his war horse, deep in thought. His generals milled around, sharpening weapons and planning strategies, aware of the formidable challenge that lay ahead. Across the field, Bayezid I surveyed his troops, feeling the weight of his responsibilities. His armor gleamed in the early light, a symbol of the Sultan's strength. He raised his sword, shouting words of encouragement, attempting to bolster the faltering morale of his soldiers gathered behind him. As the sun climbed higher, skirmishes erupted across the battlefield. The air filled with the sounds of clashing metal and war cries as both sides clashed. Timur's disciplined Timurid warriors moved with precision, exploiting the terrain to gain an advantage over the Ottomans, whose formations began to wobble under the pressure. Timur executed a brilliant feigned retreat, drawing the Ottoman forces into a trap. As the Ottomans surged forward with confidence, Timur turned and ordered his cavalry to strike. The charge was ferocious, cutting through the unprepared Ottoman ranks like a scythe through wheat. Bayezid I saw the momentum shift, but he remained undeterred. He rallied his men with passionate cries, urging them to hold the line, even as disorder began to spread. Despite his effort, the Ottomans found themselves losing formation, their unity crumbling amid the might of Timur's forces. With momentum on his side, Timur decisively encircled a large group of Ottomans, cutting off their escape routes. His warriors pressed fiercely against the beleaguered Sultan's forces, leading to further fragmentation among the Ottomans, which only added to their growing panic. The chaos within the Ottoman ranks reached a breaking point, and Bayezid I recognized his impending defeat. In a final attempt, he led a gallant charge towards Timur, hoping to shift the tide of the battle, but it was too late. The end was near. Timur observed the charge as it approached, but remained calm. He signaled to his archers, who unleashed a hail of arrows that rained down upon Bayezid's advancing troops, creating further chaos and causing many frightened horses to stumble. As the earlier charge faltered and confusion swept through the Ottoman forces, Timur seized the opportunity to deliver a decisive blow. His cavalry, regrouped and coordinated, swept around the back of the Ottoman lines, completing the encirclement. With their formation broken and leadership unstable, the Ottoman troops began to flee. Bayezid I fought valiantly until the end, but he was surrounded and captured, marking the fall of a once mighty sultan. Timur's victory at the Battle of Ankara was not just a military triumph, it signified the rise of the Timurid Empire at the expense of the Ottomans. The captured sultan, now in Timur's grasp, represented a powerful bargaining chip in the changing tides of power. The aftermath of the battle left the Ottoman Empire reeling. Timur, now firmly established as a major player in regional politics, sought to consolidate power, while reminders of Bayezid's earlier conquests served as a cautionary tale of hubris. Back in the Ottoman Empire, news of Bayezid's capture shocked the populace and spread like wildfire, causing unrest. Many questioned the fate of their sultan, leading to power struggles and a fracturing of authority within the empire. As Timur prepared to return to his empire, he demanded that Bayezid I be publicly displayed to signify his victory and the authority of the Timurids. This act was meant to instill fear and respect among his rivals and consolidate his position further. The defeat at Ankara marked a historical pivot. The power struggle between the Timurid and Ottoman empires would continue to rattle the region for years. Bayezid's defeat served as a cautionary tale for rulers about the fragility of power. In the coming decades, the psychological impact of the Battle of Ankara shaped both empires. Timur's tactical brilliance was celebrated, while Bayezid's failed leadership prompted significant changes in Ottoman military strategies, preparing them for future conflicts. Ultimately, the Battle of Ankara exemplified the volatility of power in the region. The remnants of Bayezid's Ottomans slowly reformed, new leaders emerged, guiding them through the remnants of defeat, while Timur's empire pursued audacious conquests.